take the roll call.
Dearth,
Here.
Vogaleski,
Here.
Herman,
Here.
Kaufman,
Here.
Miller,
Here.
Rule, Schuessler, Wooler,
Here. Okay, well, tonight's meeting is for input for the comprehensive outdoor rec plan. Ray will tell you how it's all gonna go, and we're here to listen.
Good evening, and thank you for coming out for this Parks Board meeting to have public input on the comprehensive outdoor recreation plan for the city. I'm Ray Maurer, I'm the Parks Director, and what we have been doing is working with Rettler Corporation, a consulting firm out of Stevens Point, since earlier this year on updating our comprehensive outdoor recreation plan, which is really our 5-year plan for the entire park system. Rettler Corporation assisted us back in 2011 to get us to this current document. So you can see it's a pretty extensive document, goes through each and every park that we have in the city and talks about current conditions and then future improvements or development that we may need to take a look at, not only in the parks, the existing parks, but as the city grows on the outskirts as far as where parkland should be located and dedicated. So we are here this evening to your input on that. I'm looking around and I'm seeing many of you are probably here, possibly for a discussion about Lakeshore Golf Course. Obviously that is a city park, so we will be listening to input regarding the golf course as well. John Kinnears with Rettler Corporation and Rebecca Ramirez, they're going to be doing the brief presentation to let you know how we got to this point. The reason we need to have an updated comprehensive plan is to remain eligible for DNR grant funding. So in order for us to apply for financial assistance, we need to have this document approved. The next couple of steps, what we're looking at is by the end of this year, bringing this document, a final draft, back to the Parks Board. The document then needs to go to the Plan Commission for recommendation to the council, and then the council finally approves that. I would say we're on target to have this completed by the end of this year. So within the next 2 to 3 months, you'll continue to hear this event or this project coming back to the Parks Board. If you haven't seen the agenda, this is listed as public input. Therefore, there's no discussion by the board or any action by the board this evening. They're simply here to listen to your input. So we won't be getting into two-way conversation about any of the items that are discussed. I guess I'd like to see a show of hands if you're not here for the golf course. Okay. We may have you come up and speak first, and it's no disrespect to the Lakeshore Golf Course individuals, but I'm sure that there's a number of neighborhood associations that we have invited from the city, and if the majority are for the golf course, if we could maybe just get these individuals up to the podium at first and go from there.
I'm for a Rainbow Park and the golf course, so Rainbow Park is not part of the golf course, so should I come up there?
You can come up more than once if you'd like.
Thank you very much.
Sure. If you're uncomfortable coming up to the microphone to speak, we do have comment cards right outside the door in the hallway. You can fill one of those out and leave it for us. We'll use those as part of our documentation in the comprehensive plan. We do ask that if you come up to the podium, give us your name, address, and as well as if you fill out a comment card, we'd need your name and address. So if you can please make sure you do that. Again, we ask that your comments pertain to the comprehensive outdoor recreation plan as a whole. We would like to make sure that the discussion or any input is civil and polite. As far as any further discussion on the golf course, again, it has to pertain to the corp. We don't have any update for you on anything moving forward, but that's something that, again, in the future will be coming to this board for any public vetting as well as other public meetings. So I'm sure you'll hear more about that. So I'd like John to come up and give us an idea on how we've gotten to this point and start out the discussion.
Okay, thank you, Ray, and thank you to the board for having us back for an update. My name is John Kinnear, president of Rettler Corporation. We're a landscape architecture civil engineering firm based out of Stevens Point, Wisconsin. Rebecca and I were both involved with the 2011 Comprehensive Outdoor Recreation Plan, or CORP, update. And we're very happy to be working on this 2017 update. And this evening is very important. Back in 2011, we had this very same forum and format for the public to give your input as well, which is a critical piece in the development of these plans. The Comprehensive Outdoor Plan document, we always start with the mission statement. The City of Oshkosh's mission statement is, City of Oshkosh seeks to provide a park and recreation system that will meet the needs of our current residents and future generations, preserve and protect the city's open space, water, historical and natural resources, and provide a park and recreation program that is designed to enhance the city's quality of life. So we always use that information throughout the remainder of the document. And why do we have a comprehensive outdoor recreation plan? It's very important. Parks and open space are becoming more increasingly important. It influences the image of the community to other communities, to the residents, provides leisure and opportunities for recreational and outdoor use, contributes to the morale and civic pride, promotes health, safety, and welfare of the public, and preserves natural spaces, protects community history, benefits the community economically as a draw. And good planning is essential to these processes. That's what this document's really about. So really, what does the document hold? Just so you have an idea, I'll be brief on this. What does the document have inside of it? It's designed to assist communities in planning and development of parks and open space. What it does is establish park-related goals and objectives. It provides updated information about social, physical characteristics, demographics, if you will, of the city itself. Forms a basis of determining city open space and recreational needs. That's why it's so important we update this every 5 years, because as things get taken care of, new needs are identified, new concerns are identified, and get incorporated into the document. It stays current that way. It identifies lists of funding programs as well. So as new programs come online, that's a reference within the document for city staff to pursue funding opportunities. A CORP is required for participation in Wisconsin DNR outdoor recreation grant programs. So it's a required document that the city has on file, updated regularly as well. It also opens up the opportunity for federal and state funding in the next 5-year cycle as well. And this, again, this is an update to the 2011 document. It's very comprehensive in nature, as the name insinuates. We locate all of the park and open space opportunities on the map, park location map in the document. Each park correlates to its uses as well, so anybody looking at this document can find out what type of park, mini park, neighborhood park, community park, etc., and what uses are in those parks. It also is a good way to identify where there might be some insufficiencies or needs within the parks as well. So that this park matrix within the document is very important to you, the community, but to the staff as well, to prepare budgeting and future improvements. We also correlate that to a park service map. The service map shows which areas of the cities are covered and which area of the city is undercovered, what types of parks the residents have access to, and where potential future park space could be acquired. So what we like to do is first tell you what you have. These are just examples of park inventories that go through and identify each park, describes the physical location and the address, how many acres the park is, and what's in the park. So it's a good baseline of what you have, okay? And then from that info, we determine the needs. So there's a few ways that we do this. Each time we look at the CORP, there's a few methods that we use to get the information of, okay, here's what we have, now what do we need? And that's updated every 5 years. Number one is public input. So today, we have the opportunity for public input. That's the forum and what this meeting is intended for. There's also, we like to put an online survey together as well for those who can't make it to meetings and those that don't want to share their comments in public. The online parks survey ended September 5th, 2017, so that just closed. Tonight's meeting is one of the last opportunities for public input. Stakeholder groups input, we just completed a 2016 Oshkosh Convention and Visitors Bureau study. We went out to all of the groups that utilize this public space in the city of Oshkosh. We asked them what their needs were. It was a study done for outdoor recreation uses. The Oshkosh Advisory Park Board had input as well. We had a June 12th, 2017 meeting and an August 14th meeting for updates and input from the board. Park Department staff as well. We had a day where we came and talked to administrative park staff and all of the park staff to see if there's any ongoing and maintenance needs or programming needs within the Parks District. So the online community survey that was just finished, just so if some of you hadn't seen it, the examples of some of the questions are just general demographics, what you feel that the city is and what how it's growing. Preferred park information sources, where do you go to learn about the parks? Is there online access? Do you come to City Hall to find out what's happening in the Parks and Recreation Department? Park usage, what do you see out in the community? Where do you see need? Where do you see shortcomings that can be budgeted for and have us have a modernization of park services? Thoughts on park conditions, athletic field uses and interests, interests and usage of various facility types, park buildings, bathrooms, shelters, things of that nature. Is there something Oshkosh doesn't have you'd like to see? Park maintenance opportunities, opinions on new facilities. What do you think about new buildings and things of that nature? The Parks Department website, do you have any suggestions for that? Is there anything there that you see or don't see that you'd like to see? Park facility rentals, income generation, and then other general comments is what we really look for in that online survey and tonight as well. So with that info, what do we do with it? We create general recommendations for park improvements. We put together capital improvement budgets. We prioritize those budgets through the 5, 10, and 15-year process of low, medium, and high. High being something that's going to happen in the next 5 years or is planned to happen in the next 5-year budgeting cycle. The capital improvement schedule then is just a summary of those capital improvements park by park. Each park has a budget and plan. And then we prepare a plan to show any future development proposed within that capital improvement plan. The ongoing planning efforts and next steps. So what's next with the plan? We're nearly done. Those items we've put together are up to date without the consideration of the public input in the surveys. So that's the last really big, most important piece. Your comments tonight need to get integrated into this and processed by Parks and Recreation as well. Ways you can contribute, share your thoughts at tonight's public input meeting. There's comment sheets for those who hadn't seen those on the way in. There's comment sheets in a basket to put those in after the meeting. If you'd like to grab one, you can if you don't want to share your comments on the microphone this evening. And then you can also email comments. Stacy, is that all right if I read this email off? There's email if you would like to do that to Stacy. It's sjames@ci.oshkosh.wi.us. You can email those right to Stacy. Next steps. What are we going to do next? The next thing we're going to do is take those comments, review that with Ray, draft comprehensive outdoor recreation plan submitted to the City Advisory Park Board. We'll have one more look at it here at the Park Board level. And then the final plan completion will be approved by the Park Advisory Board the Plan Commission, and then Common Council. So after it comes back before the board, it'll go to Plan Commission and Common Council for adoption, and then implementation. So, so with that, we'll turn it back and open it up. Is that correct? Open it up for public comment at this time? Okay, thank you.
So if the board members are okay, I'd suggest that we go with the individuals that are here for other items other than Lakeshore Golf Course, if you're comfortable with that, and limit of 3 minutes at this point, or what are your thoughts on providing a limit? See how the timing goes, Terry, or?
How it goes.
Okay.
If
So
you're talking too much, we'll tell you.
So if you're not here to talk about Lakeshore Golf Course, and again, if you are here, you'll get opportune time, but I'd rather just give those opportunities right now to the small group that may not be here. So feel free to give the board some input. Go from there.
Quick question, Ray. I had a couple questions before the meeting and just now. Is the current plan available online? I believe it is. Through the,
It's on the parks website. It's on the front page for, if you go through the city of Oshkosh to the parks website, it's on the
Okay.
homepage for us.
so you can click onto it and open up a PDF version of the 2011 park comprehensive comprehensive outdoor recreation plan, or CORP for short, City of Oshkosh.
Where do you get a copy of the plan that's under review now?
Everything that's been distributed to the Parks Board is on the city website as well. If you go under Boards and Commissions, click on the Advisory Park Board, and you can go back many, many years to see what's been discussed, but the most recent ones will be on there, including attachments.
That was my question.
Okay. If there's any other questions or comments, we ask that you'll come up to the podium just so we can get names and addresses. That would be great. Thank you.
I am Pat Hallquist, 2030 Hazel Street, representing the Winnebago County League of Women Voters. The League of Women Voters has a strong parks and recreation position. We believe parks, open space, and recreational opportunities are important to the quality of life in urban areas. Parks maintenance, improvements, and development of new parks should take a higher priority in the city budget. We support the goals listed in the 2011 plan and urge you to readopt them as given on pages 4 through 8 of that plan. In particular, the city has less parkland than current national standards recommend. Parkland should be added, not subtracted. Every effort should be made to identify new park sites in underserved areas, to purchase these sites, and to develop them appropriate to the needs of the neighborhood. In particular, active parks should be located near multifamily developments. It is very important to preserve and enhance natural systems and open spaces, to promote naturalization of shorelines where feasible, and to encourage use of natural landscaping. Parks are an obvious place to promote best storm water management practices such as rain gardens, parking lot vegetation, native shoreline plantings, small retention ponds, swales, etc., and to educate the public about the benefits of these practices to water quality and reduction of algae in the lakes and rivers. Please retain the Miller Bay shoreline planting demonstration projects and find appropriate riverfront or other shoreline property elsewhere in the city for additional natural shoreline plantings. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next.
Hi, I'm Fred Redmond. I'm at 2663 West 9th here in Oshkosh. Thanks, Ray and the board, for allowing this time. Even though I'm a golfer, Tracy may question that sometimes, but I'm here to speak on behalf of encouraging the board to consider pickleball courts. Right now, it's being played every morning at both Ys, or it will be once the downtown Y is finished remodeling. Ray was very gracious. Our club has striped 3 courts over at Rainbow Park, and we play over there in the evenings. It's being played tonight out at Winnebago County Park. They had the foresight to put in 3 pickleball courts when they redid their tennis courts. So it's easily to incorporate. You have the tennis courts. They're not being used as much as we all would like these days. But us baby boomers are enjoying pickleball rather than tennis because we can't move around those tennis courts anymore as much as we'd like. And just one other way of how this impacts, it's huge all over the country. If you travel, if you're a snowbird, you go to any places, the villages out there, Arizona, it's huge. We've taken over the tennis courts out in the area that I go to out in Arizona. The other impact I've had 2 phone calls this summer right before EA from people coming to visit Oshkosh. Where can I go play pickleball? So it's a huge impact, and I would encourage you to consider that. Ray has my email. I'd be more than happy to sit down with whoever to discuss it further in the details. Again, thank you.
Thank you.
Fred, one question. How many people are involved in pickleball?
I have over 100 on my email list right now, GoGo. We're right now in downtown, or at the 20th Street Y, there can be anywhere from 25 to 30 people waiting to play. Unfortunately, people are walking away because they can't play as much. Like I said, there's probably, I'm hearing about a dozen go out to Winnebago County Park tonight. I know they're playing Wednesday mornings out there. The tennis center is also have people playing there Monday and Wednesday mornings. So you can, view it at all these places to get an idea of what it's all about. And of course, there's always Google. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Harold Buckles, 1165 Algoma. I'm going to support Fred's statements about pickleball since I play pickleball. I played a lot of my years tennis at Menominee Park and pretty much have seen that kind of deteriorate over the years as far as maintenance and everything. And I notice too, every time I drive by there or go there, there's very few, if any, players at all with tennis. So one of my suggestions, I think it may be in the plan, is that they may add or convert that to have pickleball as well as tennis. So, but again, as sports go up and down, tennis is losing a little bit of its popularity. It appears to be anyway. And pickleball is, as Fred said, one of the fastest growing sports in the country. The suggestion I would like to make, and I probably have more questions than I have comments, is that I think I've seen the budget for Rainbow Park, and I think it's a little over $2 million. The pickleball part of that is only a little over 5,000. So I think in terms of prioritizing, we ought to be looking at the popularity of things and maybe moving up the lower hanging fruit items ahead of maybe some of the other things. I know dock fees and all that is probably a real big thing, but when you look at the 5,000 of the $2 million, that's a small share just to get better courts for pickleball and then allow us to have that opportunity to play on better courts than we currently have. So I'm going to just leave you with that suggestion. I apologize, I don't have a plan. I'm a little confused about what was said. The 2011 plan is online. Where's the current plan?
That is the current plan.
That is the
updated one will be on once it's finalized.
okay. I got it. Okay. So thank you so much.
Ron Hanchy, 52 Eveline Street. I'm here representing the Stevens Park Neighborhood Association. We only have 2 items that we'd like to see put into the long-range 5-year plan. The first one is monitoring facilities in the parks. Presently, some of the restroom facilities and other facilities are being TV monitored. We have been trying to get one at Stevens Park, and we've been refused on several occasions, and we're very interested in trying to monitor that particular park through the city. The second item is street ends in the city of Oshkosh. Presently, there are probably 7 or 8 in the Stevens Park Neighborhood Association area. Some of them have been taken care of to the extent of cul-de-sacs and new streets, but other ones are just growing in disrepair and should be recognized as open space areas. Each of them typically have a property owner on either side of the street, but the street access is basically vacant, and in most cases a storm sewer runs down through it. So we'd like to see the Parks Department through the city, make those areas good outdoor space that can be used by the neighborhoods as seating spaces at the lake or the river, or areas where plantings can be done that would beautify the area. So those are the two items that we're interested in. Thank you.
Hello, Linda Spazinski, 1711 Pinoqua Street. However, I am now married. My name is Linda Wilkins, and I hope you don't throw me off the stand because I live in Green Lake, moved due to work. My sister still lives at 1711 Pinoqua Street, and I represent her family, and my grandchildren who also live in Oshkosh, and my son. I am concerned about Rainbow Park. I grew up there. Compare Rainbow Park with Menominee Park and with South Park. What is there for the people on that side of town? What you have is a parking lot for boats, a rundown bathroom, and a park area, and then a little playground area. There used to be a lot more in that park. And there are people on that side of town who deserve to have good parks just like everybody else in the city of Oshkosh. My husband and I come to Oshkosh all the time, and we're bikers, avid bikers, where you could have wonderful bike trails in Rainbow Park. You could expand that pickleball facility. My sister and her husband play pickleball, and they've stored this stuff at their house. So I encourage you to have walking trails, bike trails, decent bathroom facilities, and also playground opportunities not only in that corner, but down by the river. I mean, we're talking about enhancing the area. I listened to what the gentleman say, influences image to the community. We need positive things to happen at Rainbow Park, and so that's what I'm leaving with you with. I'd like to move back to Oshkosh. I've always been proud of the park system and everything in Oshkosh. I hope I can consider to be so. Thank you.
Have you seen the master plan for Rainbow Park that's been designed?
No, that I have not.
I think seeing that will,
Well, I hope. Well, I hope so, because there's all sorts of things going on, and of course I'm concerned about the public golf course, but I'm not going to speak to that now because I'm not supposed to. But there should be opportunities for the real people, not for the real people. Okay, thank you.
check out that master plan.
I will. That's what I'm going to do. Thank you.
My name is Marcia Rossiter, and I live at 1530 Adams Avenue. You may know that that is right next to Red Arrow Park, and it is on Sawyer Creek. Since the dredging of Sawyer Creek, at that time, I know the city went to some expense to dig a deeper hole and to plant shoreline plants and to put some wood structures in place to really encourage the fish and wildlife habitat in that area, which is wonderful. In recent years, particularly this summer, what we have seen from my deck and dock is a lot of disc golf players coming into Sawyer Creek, tramping through the shoreline to retrieve lost discs, because one of the targets they throw at has water in the background. So if they miss, the disc goes into Sawyer Creek right near where this fishing hole is.
My concern is that that is really disrupting the habitat for the many waterfowl in that area and also the fish. And so my suggestion is that you consider perhaps putting a no swimming or no wading restriction in that area. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jeff Schutte. I live at 3130 Sawyer Creek Drive, and I'm going to talk concerning the Sawyer Creek area. Back in the development of 2004 was mainly as an open space green area, and recent discussions have been about to change that, and I feel that it should be what it originally was. It's one of the few that's around where you can find a lot of wildlife back in that area. Second, you have a portion to the west end of there, which is undeveloped. It would be nice to put more walking trails in it. Right now, most people are walking their pets or decompressing through that area. Second, make it more dog friendly. Put bags available and buckets to collect the dog waste. Right now, people are taking it, throwing it on the trees, and other places like that. Also, two benches. There's not one bench in there, and for elderly to walk through there, it's quite a long distance. If you can put one on the west end in that triangle area, or in the beginning off of Newport, is that it? That would be a great thing. And the last one is safety for the kids during periods of flooding. I see a lot of stuff go on back there that they shouldn't be in there. One day, there will be a child that will be lost in that area. Also, the gates, they should have something more secure on those gates to prevent them from getting down into that area. Thank you.
Hi, Ann Dickey, 1813 North Point Street in Oshkosh. Relatively new in Oshkosh, and I dearly miss the parks where I came from in the Quad Cities area. And especially in this town, I'm missing what they call third space, places where people can come together, especially when it's cold. But we sort of have the library and we have a few coffee shops, but I find myself really longing for park facilities that are accessible in the winter and for park winter activities, like a shelter for ice skating or encouragement of cross-country skiing or other wintertime activities. I think a coffee shop that, near the water I'd be there every day. Spending way too much money drinking coffee there and looking out over the water because we're not boaters and we're not ice fishermen, although give my son some time. I think we'll get there. But I'm also really conscious of the fact that in order for people to stay active in this community, I think although I love the YMCA, I think that there should be ways for people to enjoy the outdoors all year round and not have to pay a membership to do that. So I really, I think whatever can be done to encourage lifetime sports within the parks would be really valued. My understanding is that the average income in the city is going down, and that means that in order to stay healthy, people need to be able to avail themselves of more free activities or low-cost activities. And I also am really conscious of the fact that we do have a lot less park space here than other cities do, and even in other cities in Wisconsin. I think we're about half of Appleton, about a third of La Crosse. Some of that I think is because we have strips of land by the water to fish, but there's just a lot of space that could be, a lot of houses that could be better served by park space nearby. So whenever I see, some houses that are empty, I think, well, what about pocket parks there? I would love to see In Rock Island, where I came from, you know, the city buys houses and tears them down and puts in community gardens on a pretty regular basis, and I love projects like that. And the last point I wanted to make is that I live in the Emmeline Cook area, and we have had to tear down one of our playgrounds because it's splintered and it's not safe. But my understanding, and I'm not on the PTO, but my understanding is that we did not get money from the city that we asked for to replace it, because they said that it was not city land, and so they turned down the grant. But without our school parks, there's no way that the playgrounds would be adequate for the students that are here in Oshkosh, is my opinion, because they're kids that are on the playground, at least at Emmeline Cook. There's really nowhere else to go in that whole area. They're there all the time. So I just wanted to say that it would be really nice to have more facilities near the schools if the schools aren't going to be supported by the city in terms of equipment, because I certainly feel like the city counts on them to be used in that way. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Thomas Woodard. I live at 415 North Main Street. I'm relatively new to Oshkosh, but one of the things that drew me to the city when I moved here after college was all the space and the water. It really jives well with me. I love being out on the water, everything about it. Yeah, one of the things I've noticed since moving here is that there's not a lot of non-motorized water recreational sports, such as rowing, kayaking, canoeing, stand-up paddleboarding. These sports have grown in popularity in the years, and although occasionally I do see a kayaker out in the water, the fact that we're situated between two huge lakes and a gorgeous river between them, I think that we're really underutilizing our greatest natural assets here. So I do know that a lot of motorists and fishermen utilize the riverways, but I'd like to see more water-based recreation occur. There are a number of other Wisconsin cities that do have boathouses on park land. They include, like I said, canoeing, rowing, kayaking, those sports. So I would love to see that incorporated in the plan. One of the other economic development plans that is currently in process is the Imagine Oshkosh plan. That's currently a work in progress and will be submitted to City Council. It's intended later on next month. One of the things they identified in their plan was a #1 priority for the Parks Department, and it was to take advantage of opportunities to further promote water-based recreation. So I would like to see that this consideration also be worked into this plan as well. Thank you.
Any more general park ideas or input that wants to come forward? Otherwise, I just want to quickly address a couple items that were just brought up. Fred, you'll be happy to know that in our proposed capital improvement plan that will be going to the council in the next month or two, we're looking at renovating Menominee Park tennis courts and including some pickleball courts in there. So I just wanted to let you know about that, so stay tuned for more meetings on that. There was discussion about other park plans. There is a individual park plan for Rainbow Park, South Park, Menominee Park, and Menominee Park Zoo on the city website. So if you had some thoughts or concerns about South Park, take a look at, at Rainbow Park. Those are all on the city website as well. We did individual park plans for those because they're larger community parks, and we really had to take a look at those a little more specifically than some of the neighborhood parks. And then the last one was some of the comments about the Sawyer Creek Roost Trail over by Carl Traeger. As part of the recent Great Neighborhoods program through the Community Development and Planning Department. There's a master plan funding that was included in that. So we are working with Rutler Corporation to bring them in to do a master plan for that entire park area. So we'll be able to work with the neighborhood association and all the citizens around there to talk about what they'd like to see and what they don't want to see. And that'll be worked through the Parks Board over the next couple of months as well. So we'll have another individual master plan for another park. If everybody's okay, I'll open it up to any other comments. Oh, yes. As far as kayak and canoe access to the waterways, last year, 2 years ago, we opened up an accessible kayak and canoe launch over at the former Boatworks site. And I know that at our own Menominee Park amusement area, we do rent out paddle boards, kayaks, canoes, a number of water equipment items down there as well. So the general public, we do provide some access for that, but still like to talk to you about maybe some other ideas you might have as well. Okay.
My name is Robert Warnke, 426 West 16th Avenue. You know, I just heard a gentleman over here tell us about the importance of parks. And even with this talk of closing down this golf course and selling it, we've been through this once before. And looking at this committee, I see two people who used to play out there. I know Bill still does, and Mr. Waller played in our Thursday night league. I've played in it for 55 years, less than Navy time. But now we're too old to play at night, so we play in the afternoon. It's just a ridiculous idea to even consider. And the other thing I want to say right now is about the pro that we have out there. He is a good man. He knows what he's doing, and he has brought that golf course around. To sell this golf course is just totally ridiculous, because you got to think of the young people that are learning to play golf. You got to think of the old people like me. Even though we're not pro golfers, we still enjoy it. We enjoy the companionship with each other. And there seems to be something about the money that they say we're losing money. But I can tell you one thing. I was president of this league quite a few years ago, and there was a thing where the city management, I'm not blaming anybody, but they were taking money out of the golf course fund and putting it into the general fund. I mean, it goes right along with your other parks and your ball diamonds and everything else. They don't count how much money they take in. First of all, they don't take in hardly any money, and you're supporting them. So why are they picking on the golf course? Just leave it alone. It's a precious gem that we have out there, and we need to keep this. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. One person? Don't be shy. Nobody up here, we won't throw anything or anything.
Again, I'm Linda Spazinski from 1711 Pinoqua Street. I grew up on that golf course, and I learned how to play golf on that golf course. And it is, this gentleman from the Rutler Corporation talked about community history. That golf course is community history. It goes way back. And part of the land for that was donated and left in a will. And I saw that document, which now seems to be missing. It's part of the community history. Also, the League of Women Voters woman said we need more parks, not less parks. in this community. So I do not even understand why someone would consider doing that. Now, I do have a few suggestions. You know, along the edges of the golf course, I think the golf course is wonderful. Why? Why can't you have some walking trails along the edge of the golf course? Why can't you have some bike trails along the edge of the golf course? You know, my husband and I, we take our grandchildren and we go over by Two Brothers there, and you have the entrance to go biking along the bridge and up there. Why? Where does it go from there? Why is there not a trail along Mary Jewel Park? All the way along there and along the edge of the golf course. I mean, I don't want to disturb the golfers. I'm thinking if people are concerned about usage and access for the public, why not? And why isn't there a darn bike trail through that Rainbow Park? I'm going to bring that up again. And all the way along the river. We have some beautiful access. And by the way, the young gentleman who was talking about paddle boarding, you know, down where there used to be the West Side Beach, and remember I swam from that beach to Highway 41 and back when I was a kid, there are people who go paddle boarding there. So there are people who do try to take advantage of it, and again, there's nothing there for them. And also, the lady who wants a coffee shop. Why can't there be a coffee shop year-round in the clubhouse? I'm sure that the people who are part of that golf course would love to see more activity there and would share with the community and still be able to play golf. I think we're dreaming too small, and like I said, I read this most recent article in the newspaper, and I'm thinking, something smells here, and it sure stinks. So I'm passionate about Oshkosh. Like I said, I've lived most of my life here, and I still have family who live here, and I'm concerned about this community. Take advantage of the natural resources and work on them. That's what's going to draw people here. So with that, I guess I won't say any more, but save that darn golf course, put a coffee shop there, build a boathouse for the kayakers and the paddle boarders, put some bike trails in there, and leave the golfers play golf. That's it.
Okay, who wants to follow that? Come on.
Hi, Vic. Hi, Vic Garens from 2260 Patriot Lane. I've been a golfer up at Muni for a number of years, as some of you guys know. I just wonder if our golf course is considered a park, why aren't we put on the same level as South Park and Menominee Park? Now, South Park, you're spending several $100,000 over there to remodel that. We remodeled Muni, but yet you people are constantly taking money back from Muni to pay for that remodeling. How much money are you taking back from South Park or Menominee Park to pay for the operation of that place? I don't think you're taking any back. I think you people up here on the Parks Board, you're for the city parks. You should be fighting tooth and nail to maintain that golf course instead of trying to give it away. You can't make me believe that who's ever going to take that golf course is going to use 100 and some acres to build a corporate office out there. It doesn't take that much land. Some of that land is going to go somewhere else, and somebody else is going to make a hell of a lot of money developing that land. I think that you people should be fighting for the golf course and doing everything you can to hold on to that golf course, because it belongs to the people of Oshkosh. I guess that's all I got to say.
My name is Rose Goike, and I live at 931 Osborne here in Oshkosh. The golf course is such a pristine piece of property, and I do not know why the city would want to take that property even when people drive into Oshkosh, or you look over, you know, do we want another big building on our landscape there? And when we take a walk, do we want to see a corporate building there? Or would we like to see green space? And even though I don't golf, I think I would much rather see golfers in green space than to see a big building there. And those people aren't going to enjoy it either because they're going to be working. And when you work, I don't know, I'm sure not too many of you are looking out the window and enjoying what there is out there. And so I think it would be a shame for the city to say the golf course should no longer be there and to be used by something else. And I don't think that that is the proper use of that property. Thank you.
Mary Butke, 1615 Villa Park Drive. I wasn't going to talk tonight, but I couldn't keep my mouth shut. I've played golf at Lakeshore for over 50 years, but Lakeshore is my family legacy. My parents played there in the 30s in the Depression when my mom had to ride her bike from across from the brewery on Doty Street out to the golf course in order to be able to play. My brother and I learned to play in the 60s. My son learned to play as a child in the 80s, and now my grandsons, who are 6 and 8, and my granddaughter, who is 5, are starting to play out there. I don't think there's a lot of things in Oshkosh where you can share the generations the way that you do in golf. I could go out on a Tuesday morning and play with ladies in my Tuesday morning league who are in their late 80s, and I could go out in the evening and play with my 6-year-old grandson. I think that's a wonderful thing. So I would hate to see Lakeshore and the legacy of Lakeshore go away. Very personal for me. But I also would hate to see the city give up that much green space when you're never going to be able to get that back. I mean, once it's gone, and we don't have enough, we've heard that, we don't have enough parks, we don't have enough green space. But what I would like to see us do is try to figure out how we could use it for more people. And I think the bike paths might be possible, but the whole thing about winter sports, that is a perfect location for something like cross-country skiing because it's not being used for other things. There's not a lot of other people around, and they already protect the greens and things like that, so you could do that, and then maybe ultimately you could have the clubhouse open all the time, and it could be a place for people to get, coffee, hot chocolate, and things like that. So I'd just like to see the city look at all options. Take a look and see what you could do to make that maybe be even better utilized, but not have to give it up as a golf course. Thank you.
Yeah, why don't you, if you want to speak to it, kind of line up so we're ready for you.
I don't think you're going to get a lot of them. This is really an uncomfortable position for me, but I'll do the best I can.
Al Cook, what's your address?
I'm sorry, I'm Al Cook. I live at 815 West 11th. I'd rather be standing over a 3-foot putt to win the city tournament than doing this. But I love that golf course. I've played there for over 50-some years, and I think it's a crime that the Parks Board, the City Council, the City of Oshkosh is even thinking of selling that golf course. Instead, they ought to build a bigger clubhouse, and so you can hold weddings and golf jamborees and things and generate more money for the golf course. Why the golf course owes the city $800,000 or whatever the amount is, I don't know. The city owns the golf course. Why does the golf course owe the city money? I don't know. I can't explain it. But I know you're making a mistake if you sell that golf course. It belongs to all these people out here. We love this golf course. That's why we're here tonight. I hope you, whatever you can do to save the golf course, I hope you do it. Thank you.
Hi, Jerry Ankelman, 1402 Liberty Street. I'm not a golfer. I am not here to promote a golf course, but I am here to save valuable park land that will be used in future generations. And this is what we have to remember. If golfing phases out, that is very valuable park land. You can't replace it. Just think of the location and what can be done with it. It's unreal. So some things make your gut just twist, and this is one of them that came to me. I'm not a golfer. I've been down in that area, such a beautiful area, and to think that any official would promote the sale of parkland in this city is wrong. And a large corporation that's after this land, they know this is prime parkland to the citizens of this area, and they're cutting into our allotted space. And it's not right. Can't tell me a corporation can't find land in this area to build a facility to house their people. Do they need a scenic view to do their daily work? Are they paying attention to their daily work? Are they staring out the window at the beautiful view they will have? Or do they need to play a little golf at lunchtime? What's going on? Yeah, I just retired, and I worked for a large corporation, and I know how they work. And sometimes it's not very pleasant. And I think they could do better. They've been in this area for over 100 years. The people in this area have donated all their talent to make them what they are. And I think they could continue for another 100 years with a corporate headquarters in Oshkosh, just a different location. And I think they'll do very well. But let's protect this area. Not so much for golfing, but protect the land that we have. And a location, you can't replace that location. That's all I have to say, and let's work and do the right thing. Thank you.
I'm Vicki Morse. I live at 2621 Village Lane in Oshkosh. I play golf, and I realize that Oshkosh Corporation brings a lot to the community of Oshkosh. It's wonderful to support our economy, but I'm hoping also that they can find a place to build their headquarters and not take our golf course away. It's a great place to be. Many generations have played golf. It's just green space is too important to take away for a corporation, in my opinion. So please consider that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ray.
We don't have anything else, because this was the only item on the agenda, but thank you for coming out. And as I'm sure you'll be watching for any future meetings that pertain to the golf course, as well as the update of our comprehensive outdoor recreation plan. It will be on the Parks Board agenda for the next couple of months until we move it forward for further approval.
One quick question. When did Oshkosh Corp talk to the park department, or who did they talk to get the proper, or to ask about getting the property to build a corporate building there?
I am not going to get into those discussions as part of the corp. You can ask the city manager at some point if you'd like, but that's not part of the corp operation. Again, I'm not going to get into some of those questions on the golf course tonight. If it's more pertaining to the corp, I would do that, but that's not something that I would get into talking. The city manager may be able to answer your question if you call or email him.
How many people currently live in Oshkosh? Is 60, how many, you know, I don't.
68,000-ish.
68,000. I think 68,000 people own that piece of property, and not Oshkosh Truck. And I knocked doors to get people out to vote, and I remember 3 years ago when I was knocking doors in Oshkosh to get people out to vote for the gubernatorial election. People were concerned because they were being laid off because Oshkosh Corp, you know, they were worried about getting contracts. Oshkosh Corp, I mean, I really value that this community has this industry, but if they're not doing well, they're going to lay people off again. And it just bothers me that they have more pull than the 68,000 people.
Okay, thank you. Terry, I'll turn it back to you for adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.